are all recorded? And that we could see again or
Yeah.
like listen to
Yes.
it?
Hi, everybody. Yes, these meetings are recorded, and I will send the full recording out to the mailing list. And then I take the presentation part, and that is stored on a YouTube channel.
Excellent.
So, because we're going to do a little connecting first. Hello, Emily, and welcome.
Hello, Emily.
Hey, so I'm going to get us started. I'm Robin Mayberry, and I'm a Body Talk practitioner, and I'm on the board of the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association, which brings us all this monthly presentation. The Body Talk Business Booster Zoom is its full name. And we're going to talk tonight. Tonight's topic that we will get to here shortly, I called it Keeping the Faith. And we're talking about doing this work for the long term. And there's some yeah, that's what we're going to talk about. I've been doing it for the long term. I've been I got certified in 2008, and I have been in practice ever since, in various expressions of the super busy sometimes, less busy sometimes, always because of what I chose. I'd be like, oh, I'm not doing as many, or no, I want a bunch, which is a nice place to be. But anyway, we're going to talk about all that. But before we get into our topic tonight, I always like to start off, because this is where we get to see each other. So I like to open it up for just an opportunity for announcements and so on. And we have a few, and I'm going to pass it off pass it over to Vanessa. You want to share some of the classes that are coming up?
Yeah. So quite exciting with it seems like once we started firstly, let me introduce myself. I'm Vanessa Crawford-Murphy. I am also on the board of the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association. I moved from South Africa almost 2 years ago to Seattle. And the biggest thing for me was finding the people. So we found the people. And now that we are in that space, we have a lot of instructors contacting us, wanting to work with us. So we have some very, very exciting stuff happening this year. So the first one we have is the last 2 weekends in April. We have Dale Fox, who is an international mindscape instructor, phenomenal mentor. She teaches all over the world. She's going to be teaching online from South Africa. So it'll be 7 a.m. in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, to 11 a.m. Saturday, Sunday, and then the following weekend, Saturday, Sunday. So you still basically have the rest of your weekend. So if anyone has done Mindscape and wants to refresh, Dale is amazing. She's a Jungian analyst. So that really puts a different spin on Mindscape with her as well. Then we have Dr. Tracy Clark coming in person to Seattle from the 13th to the 16th of June, coming to do fundamentals in person. And it will be hybrid as well. We are doing a hybrid so that if anyone wants to join online, they're more than welcome. And I haven't personally taken a class with Dr. Tracy Clark, but if you haven't, I believe that it is something that you really want to do. Then we have all of the advanced modules coming up. We have Mod 3 online in August. We have Tracy coming back in September from September 9th to September 14th, but she's doing Module 5. So it's now been split. It's Mod 5A, which is Applied Anatomy and Physiology, and then Mod 5B, which is Lymphatic Drainage, the Feldheim method of lymphatic drainage. So that's September. And then October, we have Mod 6. So Mod 3, Mod 6, and Mod 9 are all online with Vilma. Vilma is a registered nurse. She's been a body talk instructor for, I think, since the early 2000s. And she will be teaching those 3 modules online, August, October, and November. So we've got quite a full year of classes. And it's going to be exciting, and building this matrix, and just with all of our energy together, I think it's going to be a fabulous year for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. And as I'm sending out follow-up emails and so on, I will have, as we get closer, just keep scrolling. And we have the upcoming classes at the bottom of every email that we send out, so you can find us. And we are just about putting the buttons on our updated website, and it's going to be really awesome. That's our sort of our jewel. And then we'll have all our classes listed on the website. It's looking really good. So that's just a heads up for you. And whether or not you're in the area, a lot of these are online. And if you're not in the area, you can always come because we have a airport in Seattle and a lot of really lovely people who'd be happy to help you find a place to stay and all that kind of stuff. So we are really excited. And Dr. Tracy Clark is phenomenal. She's like, yeah, she's such a nice, good person, really great teacher, clear, lays things out. So even if you have taken, of course, everyone that's going to be here has taken fundamentals most likely, or is thinking about it. So, yeah, consider it and send your friends, send your clients, send your friends, send your family. Let's all learn body talk together. The other thing I wanted to mention real quick, and then we're going to get started unless anyone has anything else, is the Trade and Potluck Day. This is for local people. I will seg and say, we just decided yesterday as the board officially, you don't have to live in the Pacific Northwest to belong to become a member or just to be part of us. We have a professional membership, but just to be here, you don't have to live here because everything's online now and we're virtual. However, we do offer local events. And so if you do live here, then you can come and hang out. So on Saturday, April 13th from 1 to 4 at Vanessa's house, we're doing a trade and potluck day. And we're going to have a little potluck lunch and we're going to do we're going to just do trades. We're going to set up massage tables and Vanessa has a great space for it. So you must RSVP to get the address so that we know how many people are coming. So if that is something that you think you'd be interested in, when I send the follow-up email, just hit, yes, I want to come, and I'll send you the address. So that way we have an idea of who's coming. But we're looking forward to that. We haven't been able to get together since last summer for the Bri, which was a good time. That was a really good time. So we're going to get together and do some swaps. So that is that's my little stuff I have to share. Does anyone else, this is an opportunity. Does anyone else have anything you want to share for the good of the group?
You didn't speak about your access class, Robin.
Oh my goodness gracious. I didn't speak about my access class. I'm actually teaching a class in New Hampshire before I teach one in Washington. So just, in case Tracy, you got any New Hampshire people, New England people, you're not that close, but I'll be teaching in New Hampshire on April 20th and then in Ellensburg, Washington on May 18th, live classes both days. And it's just it's such a fundamental class. It is the one that gets you acclimated to the world of body talk. So if you know anybody that would benefit from learning those 5 tools, the access protocol, so they can take care of themselves, their family, and so that they can start taste testing body talk, then again, I'll have that information when I send out the email. So send them my way. I would be delighted. So thanks, Vanessa. Got to remember to tell people about.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other announcements? Doesn't look like it. Let's do our cortices. You know us body talkers, you know how we do with the cortices. So if you're following along in the recording, do your cortices. I've been lately feeling like this spot here, like my parietal lobes, that's been a hot spot or a cold spot, actually. It really is amazing how much of an instant nervous system shift that is every time. Okay, I'm going to check my notes here. All righty, so I'm going to get us started on our topic today. I'm going to share for a little while on this topic, and then Vanessa is also going to share some thoughts, because again, both of us have been doing this work for a while. So that's where we're coming from. So tonight's presentation, which is me talking, I started running notes and I just didn't feel slideshowy. This is more of a conversation, really. And I will be opening up space towards the end for, and if any of you have any feedback or thoughts or ideas, because this is going to be a collaborative thing. But what we're talking about tonight is going for the long haul. And it's a little bit of a risky topic. It makes me like nervous. Because the truth is, I feel like we always need to be sunshiny about how this is the greatest job ever. And it really is. I mean, I just can't fathom doing anything else, like in any meaningful, sometimes I have a moment like, oh, I'd like to get a 401k, but then I think, okay, well, you'd be doing body talk on everybody in the break room. So forget it. This is my work. But that said, my truth, and that's the only truth I will speak for. My truth is I've been doing this. It'll be 16 years next month. I've never not been in practice. I've always had my practice going. The longest I've ever, I don't think I've ever gone longer than a week without doing a session in this whole time. But over that period of time, there have been times when I would get burned out, when I would get exhausted, when I would feel just really like floating on my own in the world, where I just would feel like it was too much to carry. And I've cycled through that. Over these years, it's been long enough that I have cycled through that a number of times. I always come out on the other side. And so the hard news is that this is a hard job. It's like any other job. It's got its things that are difficult, just client relationships can be difficult, and staying on top of all your learning and keeping everything straight can be difficult, and over caring can be difficult. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit. There's things that can make it challenging. But I have found, and this is what I'm going to share with you, that 2 of the 3 things that make my job hard sometimes are totally happening in my own head. And the other is controllable, absolutely controllable. So there are 3 things. I've been thinking about this for a while. This idea kind of popped in my head at the end of the last booster Zoom, and I was like, we need to talk about this. And I've been percolating. So I guess just to sum up the little introduction, for me, this has been consistently my job for a long time, and sometimes it's hard. And I think we would be not totally honest by not admitting that. But what we're going to talk about now is what has worked to both stave off sometimes going down the rabbit hole, and then has helped me over the years to pull back out of it. And so there's 3 things that there's 3. There are 3 things that I've identified: my mindset, my expectations, and my community. Those 3 things can make or break my practice. So that is what I'm going to just talk about a bit here. And we'll start with the mindset. This, these are really in no particular order, that any one of these can take me down or pull me back out. The thing that happens for me that can really put me in a spin, that can be hard for me to get out of, and when I go in a spin, I will land with like, should I even be doing this? Maybe I should get a job at McDonald's, like that's just where my head goes. The thing that puts me in the spin the worst is trying to dazzle people, which we know, we learn from fundamentals. We even talk about it in Access, that we're not supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to be neutral. We're supposed to just be, neutrally showing up and listening to the client and staying really clear and keeping our focus. And, that's what's supposed to happen. But speaking strictly for myself, I will get into times where I forget that. Maybe I have a client in particular, or maybe I'm just like kind of get in my head a little bit, or I start doubting myself or whatever. And I will just be like, every session has to be phenomenal. And when that is not good. When I get in that place, every session has to be phenomenal. We can be assured that every session is going to be a struggle. And every session I'm going to be like suiting up and struggling. And my God, I mean, I'm just not a struggler. I'm not into that. So I won't go usually too long that way before I'm like, maybe I just shouldn't be doing this. But what I shouldn't be doing is trying to impress anybody. And generally I can, bring my I have repeatedly been able to bring myself back to center. My job, this is the way I think about it, and this is what I tell people. I'm a spotlight. That is my job. Like, we don't have a really great, in my experience, really great vocabulary, even understanding in our culture yet for what we're doing as body talk practitioners, because we're paying attention and that changes things. And that's not like, that's new to a lot of people. But what I tell people, they'll be like, oh, you're healing me. I love your healing work. And I do say over and over, I'm not a healer. That's not what I do. I'm a listener. I speak your body's language and we have a conversation. Your body is the healer. That's what I tell people. They don't like it. And people, I can't say people, but I've certainly had my share of clients that, they're being really nice, but there's also that thing where they want to come and be fixed. And and that's where the problem goes. So if I fall into the trap that somebody's going to come and be fixed because I'm going to fix them, which can be sneaky. Like, I don't do it like, here I come, I'm gonna fix you. But I can find myself like, ooh, that was a really good session. Boy, they're fixed now. And as soon as I mean, that just doesn't work. It does not work with body talk. So again, my experience, but over and over, I've have to remind myself, I remind my clients, because if I don't, I go south, that my job is to pay attention. My job is to facilitate a conversation. And I really do think of myself as a spotlight. We're like sweeping through so many possibilities of what a body might want to talk about and picking out that. Those are the things. And, then the person has a result. If I stay in that really hands-off place, my life is better. So that has to be my mindset. The other thing that's related, not the same, but related, is I've never yet met a healer that doesn't know how to take other people's pain. I have a personal philosophy that I've actually never, maybe you're an exception, but I have never met a person who did not start their healing journey by taking other people's pain, by figuring out somewhere, usually pretty early, if I put my hand on you, or if I even pay attention to you, I can suck it off of you. And then you're feeling better and I'm feeling worse. But what will matter if I'm going to be in that I'm a healer thing is that I have taken your pain away. And I can do that. And I'm sure everybody on this call can do that. You see someone in pain, you take their pain. Disaster if you don't do it. If you're here, if you found body talk, you probably already know with your head not to do that because it is so short-sighted and it's like ineffectual is really the truth. Like, you can't really take people's pain. You can take the edge off of people's pain, but people have their journey. Like, you can't take it. You're not allowed to take it, but you can end up with two people in pain. So you probably know that. And yet that is another thing that in my experience has been sneaky, where I have found myself just like last ditch effort, not really getting what the pizzazz that I was hoping for. And I have caught myself just, look, I'll just take it. And then you'll feel better and you'll think I'm great and you'll go tell people that I'm great. I'll feel terrible, but that's okay. It's very subconscious. I'm sure one of these days I'll get a body talk session that will dissolve that forever. But if you're like me at all and you have that tendency, then I'm just bringing that up for your awareness, because if you start feeling like I can't do this anymore, that is a thing that can be happening, is that you might be just sucking up pain. And that's not, of course, that's not body talk. That's the opposite of body talk. But it is often a default for empaths and healers. So have an awareness. My suggestion, that's my suggestion to myself as much as anything. So that's mindset. I have to be hands off. I can't take people's pain. I'm really not allowed to. It doesn't work. And people are going to have the result they're going to have. I'm going to do my best work every single time. I have no idea what kind of result people are going to have. And if I stay in that clean mental place, it is better. The next thing is my expectations. So this is the second thing that's in my own head. My mindset can put me into a spin. My expectations can put me into a spin. And in this case, I don't really mean so much the expectations of like how my sessions are going, but how my business is going and how I'm doing in my business. And whether or not people know who I am or know what I do. And I'm going to say again, this is a thing that for me will sneak up on me, and I won't realize until I'm like super disappointed that I've had this expectation. But the two big expectations I tend to hold, and if you possibly you do too, is that I'm going to be the greatest practitioner that was ever born. And if I fall short of that, I get very like, like, oh, I thought I was going to be the greatest practitioner that was ever born. So when I catch myself doing that, like, okay, really. But then I have expectations for my business. And this just happened, actually. I thought I was over it. I really thought I was like, I am evolved now. I'm not doing this. And I just did it again, like yesterday. When I see people who have gorgeous websites, have an opt-in funnel with a free product that follows up with some kind of like fancy email, and then an invitation to book with them, but also some free stuff and some videos and some PDFs and some meditations and and it's all looks super professional, I weep. Because I think I should be like that. I just think I should be like, I should present that way. But my business doesn't want to do that. And I have been in practice for a long time, and I have been carrying that idea of what a professional business looks like for a long time. My business does not want to do that. And so therefore we don't. I have a website that I hope is explanatory and introductory, but but that's it. And like, it doesn't have all these pathways and places you can opt in and buy evergreen courses and all this stuff. I just ran into one of those yesterday, and I was like, oh, I should do that. I really need to do that. I was like, oh my God, I thought we were over this, Robin. So I can get myself in a twist if I think my business isn't where it's supposed to be, or I'm not having the professional life that I'm supposed to have, or I'm supposed to be in some different status space, whatever. I can really cook up different things depending on the circumstances. The truth is, I'm a practitioner. No matter what else I decide to add, I will always be a practitioner. And I'm doing my work one person at a time, one session at a time, one day at a time. And that, like, I can be grounded in that. So I bring expectations to your awareness, because that is also a thing that when I start getting into, I should be somewhere else, I should be doing this differently, I should be a different kind of practitioner. As soon as there's a should involved, then the energy just gets all wonky. And then I'm like, that's when I go into the loop of like, maybe I should just go be an astronaut. I don't know. It's like, it never really goes very far, because I'm like, what are you going to do, Robin? I happen to be one of the people that's born to be a body talk practitioner. Like, I'm just one of those people. I came across it and I was like, this is it. This is my thing. So this is what I do. So our third and final, the mindset, I can make myself sideways, and I can get myself right with these things, by the way. If I shift my mindset, oh, yeah, I'm a person doing my work. If I shift my expectations, I'm doing my work today because this is what's presented in front of me, and this is what it's supposed to look like because this is what it looks like. Then I can right myself again for the most part. But the third thing that's external but absolutely critical in my experience is community, the matrix. Body Talk is where I heard of this concept of the matrix. I mean, other than the movie and stuff. I have found I'm always fascinated by the matrix, and Body Talk, I think because we're so conscious and aware of it, we really charge it up. And I have watched over the years what like the IBA is doing, and everyone's gotten super excited. I'm super excited, and then things will sort of die down, and I die down. It's like it's crazy. Like, and I'll be like, I don't know why, but I'm just really not into this, and I'll find out like it's across the board. Everybody's because we're in an energetic swirl together. So I take advantage of that energetic swirl. I take it. I mean, I have to. I live in a small town in the desert. I live on the east side of a mountain range where it's just like there's nothing here. I'm the only practitioner in Eastern, well, no, not quite. There's a couple others in Eastern Washington, but not very many. And I'm definitely the only practitioner for at least 50 miles around. So that just changed. That I take that back. I totally take that back. Let me retract that because a couple other people just got certified. But for a while that was true. So I don't have so much in the way of local people that I can talk about body talk or just be in the body talk mindset. So for me, the Pacific Northwest Body Talk Association is pretty new. We did have another association some years ago, the Washington Body Talk Association. But these opportunities to get together, this association is really coming together beautifully, and I'm thrilled to be part of it. And you are too, because you're here. But being part of a local association or a regional association is cool, but being part of the IBA is cool. That's why I've always been a practicing member. Not just to get my, discounts on repeat classes. I've always belonged to the IBA because I need that community. I need the matrix. If I get away from the matrix, I start just going off into space somewhere. So being around other people, having opportunities just to connect with other people that do this work is like so meaningful to me. And then the other way that I have done this over, all the years is I take classes. So whether or not where you are, you can be part of an associate, you can always be part of ours. We are open up to anyone, anywhere that's a body talk practitioner. But if that doesn't work for you, if for whatever reason you don't have people, for me, the community of going to classes just keeps me going. It's like, okay, I don't know, it just resets. It's like what recharges my recharges my battery is not a very fresh metaphor, but it's how it feels. I will often feel like I'm staggering into a class, like, okay. And by the end, I'm like, oh my God, I love this work. I love these people. Blah, 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 blah. It's just, that's been my experience over and over. So being part of associations or other body talk practitioners and connecting with people, study groups, all that kind of stuff. If you can do social stuff, that's great. Going to classes. I mean, it's not just about, of course, it's about learning, it's class, but connecting with people that way is great. And I have also always been, I actually just told my friend the other day, like, I kind of feel like a body talk ambassador. I kind of am just that person. Like, I'm always talking about it. Everybody knows this is what I do, even if they don't if they don't ask me about it, I don't stick it down their throat, but people know I do this thing and I'll talk about it every chance I get. And I'm always inviting people to it because I'm excited about it, because I love this work, because I think this is I think this is one of the pieces that is bringing us into a conscious evolution. So I think this is important work, and I invite more people in because it's just kind of what I do. So that's how I build my community, my body talk community. And what I know, again, over the years, I mean, when I got started, my kids were really small. I don't know, they were like, I don't know, they were young school age. And so there were times when like I just didn't really see people because I was either like dealing with kids or, actually at work. And so I wouldn't go to classes, or I wouldn't really be involved, or we didn't have a local association or stuff like that. And I would get far away, and I can always feel when I am far away, my work is so much harder when I'm not. I always think of it like a tornado, a gentle tornado. But when I'm not in this energy swoosh, it takes me more energy to do my work. And then I get tired, and then I get cranky, and I don't like being cranky or tired. So, so that is my third and final suggestion is if you're getting, as you go along in your practice, no matter where you are, and it could be, it doesn't matter. If you're doing your practice and you start feeling like, I don't, like this is getting to be a lot for me, I suggest check the mindset, check the expectations, check the community. Because if those three things are robust, your job, well, my job is like the best job there is. I cannot imagine a better job than having people come in and I get to talk to them and their systems in a way that gets right to what really matters and makes shifts that are critical in the moment. That how else could we have gotten there? I mean, it's really amazing. So it's hard to knock it, and it pays, it pays, it pays the bills. So I love this work. I do this. I facilitate these booster Zooms, and I'm part of our local association because I believe in this work, because I believe in you guys doing this work. Like, this is, to me, the Lord's work. Like, this is the universe coming through and going, do it like that. So that is my my take on this. I hope it was helpful. Vanessa also had a little bit of a heads up, and she knew I was going to ask her about it. So Vanessa also has some thoughts on playing the long game, keeping the faith. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and then we'll open up in case anyone else has thoughts or comments. So go ahead, Miss Vanessa.
Thank you, Robin. So I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a different angle, but it's all comes back down to what Robin was saying, those three things. And then I'm going to speak about some of the tools that I have personally used that have helped me, given the fact that I moved from another country almost 2 years ago, from a full practice there and not knowing how I was going to do the same thing in another country. So I'm going to start with community. So I'll take it back a little bit. So I haven't always done this work. I have been in full-time practice now for eight years. And before that, I was in the corporate world. And I found body talk out of my own personal necessity, a pain that I couldn't get rid of. I lived on anti-inflammatories. My stomach was a mess. Everything was a mess. And one of my friends suggested I try body talk. And I did. And when I walked out of that first session, 50% of the pain was gone. And it was at that point, I was like, I need to find out what this is, because everybody needs to know what this is. I need to find out. And it was at that point that I started studying. And when I had the opportunity to leave the corporate world, my first thing was like, oh my God, I want to build my practice, but how am I going to do this? So the first thing, I'm starting with Robin's last one, is I contacted the South African Body Talk Association, which is a huge matrix. It's one of the largest that there is. I think there are almost, now I think there's almost 100 practitioners that are part of that association, all members. So I went to the chair lady and I said, I want to be a part of this because I need to grow my practice. How do I do this? I was already a member of the IBA and always have been a practicing member. And I am still a member of the South African Body Talk Association because it's where my roots are and where my foundation is. So I'm part of the IBA, SABA, and then the only logical step, because the South African Body Talk Association, I was on the board of of them as well, and I ran wellness days. We'd go to corporates, we would go do mini sessions for the employees. And when I saw how that grew my practice and the practice of the other practitioners as well, I knew that I needed to find community here when I moved here. So before I even moved, I reached out to the people that are on the board with us now, Robin, Ellen, Diana, and Suryo, who was still here. And when I arrived, we started this. And if it wasn't for the community that I have locally, it would have been a lot more difficult for me to feel grounded, stay grounded, and just be in that space. So that's the first thing I wanted to speak about, is how important it is to be a part of that community. Because if I need, and even if any of us, and we've seen it among the board members, if somebody is struggling with an illness or something like that, or even any of the other practitioners, you know that you can reach out and you can ask somebody, please, can you do a session on me? And they know exactly what you need. And not having that community, if you're not going to be in the correct mindset and you are going to sometimes take people's stuff on inadvertently without wanting to do it, you're going to need another body talk practitioner. And to have a community like that is so, so important. So for me, that was sort of the foundation of how I built my business, was starting with the community side of it, because I'd come out of corporate and you have all the support. When you start your own business, especially as something like a body talk practitioner, you need that support even more so. So that was how it all started. And then when you start, you're always going to doubt yourself when you start in the beginning. You're always going to, but my two mentors who I mentioned earlier, Dale Fox and Vilma Krobela, who are both instructors with the IBA, they taught me some very, very powerful tools that I use every single day in my practice. So I'm also a Reiki master. I teach Reiki. I teach Dale Fox's Reiki. And there were a lot of tools that I learned within that. So if any of you have got Reiki, there are some very important things that you can actually use from Reiki that can help you in not getting attached, not having the attachment to the outcome of your sessions and things like that. So this is around mindset. Is one of the things I do every morning is I use my Reiki symbols to start my day. And one of the things, there's two actually that I do. The one statement is, I affirm the intent to pick up without taking on throughout my day. That comes from Mindscape. I'm not sure if any of the other instructors, I'm sure it is in there. I'm trying to remember if it's in the manual, but anyway, that is the one thing. I affirm the intent to pick up without taking on throughout my day. The second one, which is even more important, and I often repeat this in sessions, especially if it's sessions that are a little bit overwhelming, which they sometimes can be, is I give it back to the universe. In my head, in the session, I tell myself, I am being done. I'm not doing anything. The person on the bed is doing it. And this almost rolls through my head like a bit of a mantra. I am being done. Because then you pull yourself away from that attachment and understand that you are merely the conduit. You've done the learning, you've done all of that stuff. You've got the left brain knowledge that helps you to be this conduit. So that for me has been extremely important. And then one of the things that I learned from Vilma when I've done 3, 6, and 9 with her, and I've done them a few times with her, is the one thing she says is, do the session and forget about it. Leave it alone. It's not your stuff. You've done the session, you've given the information to the client, leave it alone. And I'll often tell myself that once the client's gone, and especially if there's no shift according to the client, because then they're holding on to their stuff. Leave it alone. It's not coming from you. Let me just have a look here. Okay, and then I want to talk about protecting your energy field and how you can do this using Mindscape. So have all of you have done Mindscape? Emily, no. You need to join us in April on those 2 weekends. You need to do when I tell you this, maybe so in Mindscape, one of the tools that is in your Mindscape workshop is your elevator. So this I was taught by Dale when I've done Mindscape many times with Dale, and because she's a Jungian analyst, she brings very different interpretations into the Mindscape workshop. And one of the things that I do every single day, and because I do it every day, it's become very quick. I don't sit for 20 minutes going into my Mindscape. It literally takes me maybe 5 minutes, not even. So one of the things that you learn in Advanced Mindscape or Dale's Beyond Right Brain is how to get yourself there very quickly. But you can do it even if you haven't done the advanced stuff, you can still get there very quickly if you're doing it every day. Every morning, I don't sit down and I'll walk outside. Even if it's cold, I still did it in the snow, in the rain, all of those things. Just step outside and I put myself into my Mindscape workshop. I put myself in my healing space. I have a waiting area in my healing space. I stand at my elevator and I affirm the intent to pick up without taking on. And I leave myself in there and I open my, well, and I just carry on with my day. When my clients arrive, I see them as if they're coming through the elevator and I've affirmed the intent to pick up without taking on. I don't do it as a ritual every time. It's done in the morning and then it's done. So the whole day, when the clients are coming in, I'm letting them in through my workshop and I'm letting them out. Because that way you are protecting your energy field, because you're not bringing them into your physical space, even though they are in your physical space. You're bringing them in and you are letting them out. But that doesn't mean we're not going to sometimes take stuff on. So one of the things, the other things that I use, which is hugely powerful, that I also learned in one of the many courses that I did with Dale, I've done intuitive fascia release, I've done the Reiki, I've done a lot of things with Dale, is sending back with love and consciousness attached. So if you do take on something in the day, you don't need to know which client it came from. Don't sit and overanalyze who had this or who had that. That's just going to perpetuate everything and make it a million times worse. But you don't have to know. The universe knows. All you got to say is sending back with love and consciousness attached. And you let it go from you, because you've already helped the client let it go. So it'll then just go back to universe and it'll just be dissolved. It's not going to go back to the client and reattach to them. It's not going to do anything weird like that, but it just really helps you not to hold on to that energy. So yeah, that was pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Yep, that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. See, I knew she would be full of good things.
Thank
Vanessa
you.
always is. I love that. I am being done. I wrote that down. I like that. Okay, so you intrepid fine people, if you have anything that you would like to share, and I'm especially looking at Susan. I know Susan, you've been in various kinds of practice for a while. So if anyone has anything you'd like to share or add, then just go ahead and unmute and I'll create some space for that right now. If not, no pressure, but if you're like, oh, I want to mention this thing.
I just wanted to say hi. This is my first time here. I'm a new practitioner. I actually got certified end of last year, and I've been struggling with actually doing it. I've also been experiencing, when I did my sessions for certification, like pain. And I didn't think it was from taking on their pain, but it was more like I wasn't used to like doing all the muscle testing. My wrists would hurt, and I wasn't used to like bending over the massage table to get certain tap areas. So I thought that was like an indicator, maybe this isn't for me. But I'm not sure, because all the teachers I told about said, well, maybe you're just nervous. And so anyways, I just came for inspiration. So thanks for having me.
We're so glad you're here. And I'll just tell you really quick that what you're talking about is two things: table mechanics, lining yourself. So make sure when you're holding things, you're not reaching. Arrange your body so that you're like above it. That's a massage therapist thing. And yeah, you're probably tense. You're probably like, and then, and I mean, most people start off a little nervous and a little tense, and then, that's a practice makes. I hope so. Without knowing more, you would definitely not be the first person who was a little nervous at first. But you're here, and I'm so glad. We're all so glad that you're here, because it's not nothing to get certified in this work. It's a commitment. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And my fire was so strong, but then I hit this like other phase of transitioning out of the learning world to the actual like interacting with the real world and spreading the word. And I just got annoyed with trying to explain it with people, and I was just got exhausted, and I was just like, I don't want to explain it anymore.
Emily, Robin will share the YouTube channel where we've got all the previous recordings, and there are recordings there that are really focused on those things, on how to explain body talk easily. There's a lot going, and how to building your business from an actual business perspective. So go and have a look at the YouTube videos. I think they'll be really helpful. And then if you want to reach out to any of us, if you have any questions or just want to just touch base and just, you know, have a Zoom, let us know. And that same goes for you, Tracy, and everyone else. But I'm just with the new practitioners, just making sure we keep you in the matrix so that you guys can build your practices so we can help as many people as we can.
Mhm.
Thank you so
Thank you, I
much.
appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Because I do find, I have to admit, I was referred to this group by Bonnie McComb. I'm not too sure if anybody's familiar, and because she's like, yeah, it's like I have been finding, and I'm not being negative, but I just the IBA, I just don't feel like it. They train you, and then you're kind of dropped. Like it's just nothing to, get
This is
your
what we're filling that gap because we're,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah, she
we're
explained
trying to
that.
run
I'm
a
like,
whole
oh my God,
globe.
somebody does that? That's amazing. I think it's great. Thank you.
We are so glad to have you. Really, we're so glad.
I'm curious where people are from.
I'm from Sacramento, California.
Oh, okay, great. Welcome.
I'm from Milton, Ontario, Canada, so outside of Toronto, so that's easier. Most people know Toronto.
Oh, wow. Okay, great. Yeah. Well, I'm in Washington State too, so I'm near Vanessa and not too far from Robin. But I just wanted to say with Emily, the whole body dynamics and everything. I'm in a biodynamic cranial sacral training. So I'm like Robin's like massage therapy. Like I didn't learn body mechanics. I'm a nurse. And so I learned some body mechanics that way of how to work with patients and in a bed and all that. But it's really important that you do take care of yourself and you bring in pillows or whatever you need to be comfortable. And you may feel silly doing that, but the more comfortable you are, the easier the session is for you, and the more ease is for your client because they feel everything that you feel. So if you're feeling uncomfortable, same with being nervous, like we all are nervous starting out with something new. So doing your cortices, maybe doing it with them. So in really just grounding, you're doing whatever, Reiki or whatever practice you have that helps ground you and settle you, because your client's going to feel that too. And then you can be in more resonance with them and it'll go a lot better. So
Do you use pillow as a practitioner?
if you're doing some sort of tapping or something, something that takes a little bit of time, I'm actually thinking of cranial, where you're actually sitting and holding, the feet or something. You sometimes prop your arms up on a pillow or, like use tools that maybe help you feel more comfortable,
Okay.
or adjust your chair or whatever so that you're more comfortable. So you're sitting instead of standing over them, or, just play around with different positions to see what works best to make you as comfortable as possible. So.
Yeah, there is also the fork in the road of, do you want to do digital or do you want to do in person?
That's
and
true.
that's totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they're both fantastic, and very different. Yeah. So.
I actually do have a suggestion, even though I'm not as experienced as everybody else here. But I do have spinal stenosis in the neck and the back, so I technically shouldn't even be moving. But I found having the table for me high, like at its highest, I don't have to bend so much, so it doesn't put pressure on my neck or my lower back where I have the damage. And when I took my in-person with Heidi Reed in Kelowna, she had, which it just changed everything, because I normally had like just an office chair, the roller chair or whatever, with the table, and that I noticed would hurt me. And she had which made the total change for me. It's like a saddle chair that looks like a saddle. And that just changed everything for me, like with the posture and like holding that area and not creating any pain within me to, like, when I'm doing the work. So it's just a suggestion from a pain point of view in that way.
Another thing that I found, I love the saddle chair because that was one of the things that I thought about as well. But the floors are wooden here, so I didn't want to do that because if you're moving around on it, it's going to make noise. So I have a Pilates ball. That is my chair. That's what I'm sitting on right now. That is all I sit on at my desk when I'm doing sessions, because it just rolls around and it strengthens your core muscles at the same time. So that also works very well for anything like that.
That's
Yeah,
my
one-
chair of choice too, the yoga ball. So
Respecting your tools, respecting the way your body feels, that is a great addition to this discussion. Because yeah, that's the kind of thing that will put friction on your whole practice. If every time you're given a session, you come away sore, how many times are you gonna want to do it? But adjusting, like, and it might take a little experimenting to find the right chair, to find the right table height, to find the right posture, whatever it is, but respecting, taking care, like Susan says, protecting your the way your body feels makes a huge difference in the moment, and absolutely a huge difference for your longevity. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, you guys are here now. Let's do it for the long term.
Yeah. And I know that you're supposed to muscle test them. At least that's what they teach you in fundamentals. But then it's like, well, do I really have to muscle test them? Especially if it hurts my wrist, because you're just kind of essentially muscle testing yourself anyways. And the advanced practitioners don't even really muscle test, right? So it's like them. So I was always thinking, is it bad if I just like,
There
if
are
it
other,
starts hurting, I just start testing myself?
you don't, well, my understanding is that you don't have to do the lifting of the arm. There are other ways to muscle test. It is important to have a check in to make sure you're not just running off in some crazy place in your brain, like that you can check back in, am I on track? But like there's people that do all kinds, I mean, that's a whole other topic. But there's a lot of that's just another thing you can adapt, is like, how are you going to get your muscle checking feedback? And maybe just the height of things, you sitting next to a person and moving their arm, it just doesn't work for you. But that's an adaptable thing. Muscle checking is kind of a must. You don't do it every second. When as you get more comfortable, you'll just check. Do I have that right?
Because I was doing it after every yes, no, and every question. And that's like thousands of muscle checks.
That gets faster. That's tedious. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, bum, 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 right? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah.
Cool.
I love it. This is, thank you so much for that, because that is a really important addition to this discussion. Keep your body happy. You want to have a happy practice, have a happy body. Well, we are just about at 8 o'clock, and this has been a ton of fun, which it always is. Does anyone else have any comments before we wrap it up?
I just wanted to ask, maybe you want to stop the recording, Robin?
I will, hold on. Before I stop
Okay.
the recording, I will just say that next month, Vanessa's going to be sharing how she built her practice using BNI, Business Network International, in-person networking groups. So that's going to be next month's topic. And now I shall stop the recording and we will let Vanessa share. Goodbye.